So next on our side we have Teige, who is using Oracle Think Tank. Oh, and it's actually a different build from usual. Going up against Towan, because this is Gunslinger format. Meaning that the person who wins stays on. Teige is going first. Starts off by riding Amino Murakumo. Probably would have liked to keep it in hand as Stride Father, but much better than a misride. Because Teige is using Scarlet Witch Coco, it means he doesn't have a behind Vanguard booster right now. But here's Silent Tom. Because he rode grade 1, he started off, this is actually really good for him. Towan can't guard with 0, so he can't make it a no pass with 1 card. So as a result, he just doesn't guard at all. Makes up for the fact that he doesn't have a behind Vanguard booster if he restricts the opponent's ability to block him. Grade 2, and Towan is going in again, just like he did against Shotaro. Teige takes the first attack, guards the second with the draw trigger, and for the third, he doesn't guard. Break right and a drive check, that's probably what's going to be written next. I haven't seen a limit remover in Towan's deck though. At least not from what I've seen, and Teige is not riding grade 3. I think he's not riding grade 3 so that he can prevent his opponent from striding. Silent Tom's attack didn't hit. Silent Tom's attack actually didn't hit. That's a 1 pass. And he doesn't get it. So now there's Susanoo. And he's not using Lulu's skill. And he just realized that last turn he didn't take the duckbill damage. But it's already too far into the game for it to actually be changed. He's asking if he can just put duckbill back. Teige allows it because that's actually how things are supposed to be. Towan no guards. He got a draw trigger, but that was the only trigger you got to see. So now Tankman Beam Cannon can attack. He can also put a card in his hand back into the deck in order to increase Beam Cannon's power by 5,000. But he also doesn't need to do that. Of course, before that, Quillen's skill. Used to get a CEO Amaterasu in hand. And then returns the Amaterasu back to the deck. And decides to completely obliterate Researcher Fox. That was not necessary, but I understand why it happened. I think if it was me, I would have killed the Hamsuke. So 31,000, Teige is guarding. It's just a matter of how much he's prepared to drop, because that still hits. And those hamsters still hit for enough to force a 5k block on their own. If he gets any triggers, it'll take more. Speaking of triggers, there's a heal that doesn't heal. So since no criticals appeared, Teige can afford one hit. Depending on his hand, he might want to guard the weaker attack and just take the second. Chooses not to do that, gets a heal trigger for his trouble. So if he wanted to, he could just take this one as well. And he decides to do exactly that. He's preserving his hand. So at the end phase, both of these units retire, and for 2 counter blasts, he can get 2 more into his hand. Of course, that also means he doesn't have any more of those in his entire deck, unless he uses Legion. Those are the only end phase effects that go off, so it is now Teige's turn. So long as Teige is still here. I think I wonder if he's assuming that there's more to it. Alright, I have to check. Okay, so Teige took some time to respond, but he is still around. He didn't DC. So the match continues. Activating Stride once again. And now we have Takamikazuchi. Starting off with Susanoo's skill. Gets 2 criticals in the top check. Gets Psychic Bird into the hand. And now Takamikazuchi's ability, Counterblast 2, flip up a copy of itself and check the top 4 to get 2. Another critical, a draw as well. It does indeed help his top deck though. Uses Psychic Bird to get another draw. Don't know how I feel about him doing that. He's giving up 10k shields in order to draw, but oh, that's why he has Luck Bird. So he drops them both to draw again. Call Silent Tom and a 12k attacker. So he does have good columns hitting for good numbers. Gets a crit. All to Tom because that's where crits go. attacks to the Vanguard, gets blocked. And he's giving his opponent limit break. I can only hope he's prepared to guard because he just did this. So he's dropping his hand. Teige might have been right to do what he did if he has block for this. Drops a perfect guard. Heal trigger that doesn't work once again. And with the break right skill, he gives 4k to the unit itself. I don't know if it works that way actually. It probably does. As a matter of fact, when one of your Great Nature Rearguards attacks the Vanguard, choose one of your Great Nature Rearguards. That unit gets plus 4,000 power. Okay, it can work that way. So that's only 15. 5k to block. That's hitting for 29k. Two 10ks to guard. Oh wait, 33. And Teige has enough to guard it. Gets 3 draws from Crayon Tiger and the 2 break ride skills. Gets a hamster back because he returned one with Legion. Actually, he returned both with Legion. Legion skill gives him one unflip because the unit was retired. And I feel like he drew more than he was supposed to there because it looked like he drew 4. Oh no, wait. Because he restood a rear guard and attacked again, he got another break ride skill from that. I wasn't counting that. Okay. Strides again and decides not to use Susanoo, instead using the counter blast to use Takumi Kazuchi, which in this case is the better of the 2 options because it'll give him double what Susanoo's skill would do. And he gets a perfect guard out of it, so it was extremely good for him to do that. Also gets an 8k vanilla, silent, and CEO Amaterasu gets the 8k vanilla. Can make a 16k column out of it. Calls a Tom. Moves up Luckbird, not putting anything behind it. 21, 31, 41, that's a 2 pass. 46 is a 3 pass. Critical trigger. Not giving it all to Vanguard. And for good reason, didn't get any other triggers. Gave it to Tom, can't guard this with zeros. But he does have enough to block. Activating Stride. Using Stride skill. So this is going to be 20k when it's a boosted attack. When it restands by Crayola Tiger, it's not going to gain any extra power from that. But Crayola Tiger just got power, so now that can't be blocked with anything but zeros either. And then heal trigger. So now even unboosted, that's hitting for 20k. And unfortunately, there's not much that Teige can really do about this unless he can go with this one. He can block it, but he doesn't. Good game. He did have a critical trigger in his hand from last turn, so he could have used that and intercept to block. And then just taken the rear guard attack that didn't have 2 criticals and hope for a heal trigger. But even if that had happened, he was close to deck out by this point anyway. Good games.